Hello, soul sister. So, on today's episode, we're going to talk about a topic that I just still can't believe I even have to talk about, which is ghosting. I mean, it is just so surprising to me how people treat each other. And I'm not just talking about men disappearing on women, I'm talking about women that disappear on men. Men do it, women do it. And it's just so sad to me. And I guess it's just the way it's going to be. So let's figure out how to handle it if and when it happens to you. So let me just start by saying that being online, it it takes a lot of courage, and I give you a lot of credit. And I also wanted to say that it's so important to be online if you really want to meet somebody, because that's where most of the people are meeting each other right now. And if you're not online, you're missing out on the biggest tool there is. Now, there's some downside, and one of those things is ghosting. However, you could get ghosted by anybody. And let's just start off with what the frig is ghosting? It was so funny. I was talking to my mom recently, and I was sharing something about something that was going on with this guy that I was seeing. And she's like, he ghosted you? And I was like, well, no, he didn't really ghost me. We texted back and forth, but it lost some of its steam. And he wasn't responding to me as quickly as he was. And frankly, it just wasn't working out. And so be it. My motto is, if it's not working out and you've shown up, and we're going to talk about this in this episode, then the next thing is to go next. And with that said, saying next and getting all revved up for your next experience might be a little challenging for you. And so I really want to set you up for success, especially if you're concerned about ghosting, because ghosting is when somebody suddenly disappears, right? Where are they? They were here and now they're gone. That fucking sucks. It is the craziest friggin' thing. And it's crazy in my mind because it just seems mean spirited. It seems mean spirited. It seems like, and I hear this from my clients so often, it's like, he seemed to really like me and I did all the right things. And that's the number thing. The thing I want to just mention right now is, it's not about you making a mistake. It's not about you falling short in some way. Yes, you might want to reflect on what went down. You might want to take some time to digest it, but don't rake yourself over the coals because somebody ghosted you, because that's not going to serve you well. And reflection and looking at it, that's a great thing to do. Look at how you showed up. Might you want to do something differently? Just don't rake yourself over the coals. So, ghosting is when somebody disappears on you and you're like, what happened? We were on a roll and he really was showing up for me and he was really liking me and saying all the right things and doing all the right things, and it felt so good. And then poof. Poof. So firstly, with this stage of life, not stage of life, but this moment in time with technology, it makes it really easy for people to take the easy way out. Let's call it what it is. If you could just stop texting somebody and disappear on somebody, and the chances of you bumping into them anytime soon, why not? That's what people think. That's what people think. They think, why not? They'll get, the writing's on the wall. They'll figure it out sooner than later. And that's just not nice. So don't do it. Sister, behave the way you want to be treated. So let me just start there. Don't ghost anyone. So it's easy to just disappear if something goes wrong, or I don't want to say wrong. Let's just say you're dating somebody and they meet somebody else, because unless you're exclusive and you're deep into a relationship, chances are they're still online looking as well. You might be too. And maybe you find the grass is always greener, like, oh yeah, wait a second, she looks better or he looks better than the person I'm seeing. And then they go, oh wow, I just had a great date with her. And he ghosts you because he doesn't know what to say to you. And you might have experienced the same thing. How do you let somebody down without hurting their feelings and being the bad guy or the bad gal? That's what we're dealing with. And we're dealing with fear. This is how I'm viewing it: fear of being honest, fear of having a conversation with somebody that doesn't necessarily feel comfortable. That's what happens, right? So the idea of saying, "Oh, how do I, how do I tell him it's just not a fit after a few dates?" You just do. And you do it in a way that is in alignment and integrity. Now, if you don't want to have that conversation on a phone, at least text them and say something to the effect of, "Hey, I really enjoyed our time together, and I need to let you know that I'm just not feeling that connection the way I want to feel it, and I need to move on, and I wish you well." If that's the best you can do, at least do that. Don't disappear on someone, because wouldn't you want that? Wouldn't you want that text? Even if it stung a little bit, it's like, okay, at least you know they're alive and you're not trying to like figure out what's going on. And yeah, and keep waiting. I mean, I hear that. It's like, I thought it was a great date. How could he have disappeared on me? Should I text him and ask him what happened? So, number one is take a breath and know that this is part of technology and it's an easy way out. It takes courage to speak up. It takes courage to say, if this isn't working for me. And my bet is that men and women are just kind of going, "Oh, I don't want to have that conversation. I'm just going to avoid it." And I think we're all taught in this culture how to get, how to do the easy thing and not the challenging thing, or the things that are in my opinion, in integrity. And so that's a sign that they don't know how to communicate. That's a sign that they don't know how to be honest with you. And that is really good to know soon out the gate. It's sad, it sucks, but that's where it's like, boom, baby. If they can't show up for you, they can't be transparent with you, let them go. So, what if you're in conversation with somebody and you have this great connection with them and you've been seeing them, maybe you've had a few dates, and then they disappear on you? What do? You do have some choices. Choice number one is to do nothing and see if they show up. And if they don't show up, like if you threw the ball out there and you didn't get the ball back, and it's obvious that they're not showing up for you, then I really invite you to let it go. Now, if you're curious about what's going on with them, you could text them, and text them not what's going on and what happened to you, because that puts them on the spot. Text them something fun, like, "Oh my God, I just saw the greatest movie, Avatar, and I just loved it. Have you seen it yet?" See what happens. Do they respond? Do they show up? That's if you want to keep the ball rolling. And if you had plans and you don't know if the plans are happening, you could text them and say, "Oh, I'm really excited to see you later. What time did we say?" Keep it light. See what happens. Throw the ball back in their court. At the end of the day, I really invite you to take a pause and ask yourself, is this somebody that you really want to stay connected to? Is this somebody you really want to see again? Are they making you excited and happy? And if so, then maybe you want to throw the ball again. Just take good care of yourself. Take good care of yourself. Have some healthy boundaries with what you do and what you don't do. And trust that if they don't show up for you, this is not the person for you. And also, ghosting can feel like a huge rejection. Do what you need to do to feel good about yourself. Reach out to a girlfriend or like my clients reach out to me, and ask for some support. Ask them to remind you how special you are. And then when you're ready, get back on the horse, because, sister, you deserve love. So, if you had some value out of this today, please be sure to subscribe to my YouTube station or my podcast. Share it with a friend. If you haven't grabbed my book yet, Loving the Whole Package, I help you with the tools to ward off rejection and feel your powerful, juicy self, so that if some of this stupid ghosting happens, you don't lose that spark inside of you. See you next week. Mwah!